You know what? This is silly. We have sound, we have color, let's use them. Let's learn the Blackmagic 4K Pocket, your next camera. Let's make some sound films. Let's go! That's it, it's time again for another Proficiency, only this time it's the second semester camera. It's the Blackmagic 4K Pocket Cinema Camera. It's a big long name, we just call it the Pocket 4K. It's an awesome camera. We can put away that Panasonic AF100, we can put away that variable frame rate, because now we're onto a bigger, better camera, okay? And you're gonna love it, absolutely adore it. Before we get started on building this camera and going through every step of the proficiency test, I thought it'd be nice to just go through all of the things you're gonna see in the kit. First thing you're gonna find is this obscenely large Ziploc bag. Very similar to what we had in first semester. The idea here is that if you're shooting outside in very cold temperatures, you bag the camera, keep it airtight, and then you can bring it in without introducing condensation inside the camera or the lenses. This pouch has 3 cards inside. You're gonna get your 18% gray, you're gonna get a white card, and a black card. This is gonna be for your white balance, for your black balance, and also for exposure readings using false colors. And we have the color checker. In these top pouches, we have several items. The first is the camera itself. It's a lot smaller than the one you had last semester. It's also wrapped in this big metallic thing. We call it a cage, okay? And it's made by Tilta. You're gonna notice a cold shoe mount here, 1,000,001 holes. All of these are just mounting spots that we can attach all of our accessories to. And there's also an HDMI adapter right here. All this does is allow us to plug in the HDMI from our monitor without the potential of damaging the camera should we happen to bump into something. This prevents any impact to the camera itself. So that's kind of neat. Along with the camera, we have the lens. This is an 18 to 35 Lumix zoom lens. It's a smart lens, so all of the functions that the Blackmagic camera can produce for you, this lens will actually be able to utilize all of those features, including OIS, optical image stabilization. This lens has it so that you can do those sweet handheld shots. We can attach this handle to the top of the camera. This is gonna be great for your handheld. It's also good when you're just building the camera and you need something to hold on to for counterweight and counter pressure. It's also got another cold shoe mount in case you want to keep building on top of the handle. There's also this mounting base. This is gonna be important when we're using the camera and attaching it to the tripod. In first semester, you had to take the plate off the tripod head, attach directly to the camera, and then put the two together. This time, that plate is gonna go to the base here, and then we can actually attach the camera to this as well. This is gonna allow us to do quick release, which we're gonna talk about later. We have a 5-inch monitor. Inside, you're also gonna see an HDMI cable, an Allen key, a screen wipe. All the accessories are needed here. For that monitor, we use Canon batteries. You have 6 of them in your kit. 3 pouches, each pouch has 2 batteries. These are really neat because they're Velcro and you can just attach them to your belt buckle, so that way your camera assistant always has them on them whenever they're working. You'll notice when you open the kit, you'll see one side has some green tape and the other side doesn't. It's kind of our way of communicating to each other which batteries are hot bricks and which ones are cold. So when you open it up, if you see green, you know that these batteries are fully charged and they're ready to go. After you've drained a battery, put it in upside down, so that way we can tell that this battery still needs to be charged. We have 6 of those batteries, and this is the charger. It charges 2 batteries at one time. This is a fantastic charger. It's a Cube 2, really, really like this. It gives you all of your details here. You also have 4 of these larger batteries. These are Sony batteries. We're gonna be using these to power the camera. You could use those same Canon batteries and put them inside the body of the camera. Typically at a full charge, you're looking at about 40 minutes to about 60 minutes. This is gonna give you a good 3 to 4 hours at least, so we really want to prioritize using these instead. And this is it. This is our Sony battery adapter. This allows you to connect this device to the camera's cage so that the camera can run off of those batteries instead. Your kit will also come with a CFast card, 256 gigs, as well as a CFast card reader. I also want to stress that your cameras this semester do not have internal ND, so you're going to have to actually attach an ND filter through the front of the lens. Should you wish to, take it outside and still get those sweet shallow depth of focus shots. We have a 0.6, a 0.9, and a 1.2 ND. And last but not least, our power adapter. Like my good friend Kyle Fadunia used to say, worst case Ontario, if all of your batteries are dead, you want to be able to still use the camera. This way you can plug it into a wall outlet and you can still go. Not ideal, but it will get you out of a bind, worst case Ontario. And when you pack up the kit, this slate is going to rest on top. That's right, we're using slates from now on. How awesome is that? On the back, you're going to see a whole bunch of letters and numbers, as well as scene and shot. This is all there for you to quickly label and adjust your slate accordingly. It sits on top, and that's the kit. Let's start building this camera now. And this is the tripod. This is a brand new Satchler Fluotech tripod. We just got them in last year. They're awesome. On top of that, we've also got the Ace XL head, and this is what we're going to be using for this semester. First things first, we're going to loosen our spreader, make sure it's nicely and spread out. As you can see, I've already done that. So now we're going to lock this into place. And now it's time to raise up the riser. You'll notice there's only one set of locks here, these 3 flaps. So you just release them like so, stand up with the tripod, you're good to go. How nice is that, right? Snap those back into place. Now what I'm going to do next is I am going to lock my pan and tilt. I'm going to adjust my level. Now that we're level and we're locked, we're ready to start attaching some of these camera accessories to the tripod head. First things first, we're going to want to remove the plate. Over here you can see the lock for the plate. Once loose, it will slide back and forth, but of course it's prevented from removing completely. You're going to press this red button while sliding the plate out from the back, and it will now be released. On top of that, you'll notice that this has a locking pin as opposed to having 2 different screws. This is going to allow the camera to be snugly attached to the plate without any potential of it loosening throughout the day. So I've now got the mounting base here, okay? You'll notice it has a lock here with a line and an arrow. This is for you. This is for you, the camera operator, when you're attaching the plate. So I want to stress this. If you see any type of wording, any type of information, that's for you. It's not for the talent. So remember, this faces you. Now with the plate, you've also got the arrow. So if you know this faces away and this faces towards you, you kind of have an idea of how this is going to attach already. So now I'm just going to screw this onto the receiving thread here. So slide it back into place, turn the lock, now it's secure. You'll notice on the cage of this camera, there's this pretty aggressive base here. This is actually designed to work with this receiver. So it easily just slides in, and once it's slid in, you can see it doesn't actually come out unless you're gonna release it. And this is when we're gonna go back to this arrow here. We're gonna slide that forward, and now it's nice and secure. The camera is now attached. The next step is the lens, but this means we're also gonna need a buddy. And we got one of the greats here. We got Ricardo. He's just graduated from 2nd year. He's back making an independent film. Oh my God. How's it going, by the way?
All good.
Fantastic. You gonna help me put this lens on?
For sure.
Sweet. So just like the first semester Micro Four Third lens, we're gonna be attaching this red dot and lining it up to the one on the camera. Now remember, Blackmagic, they've done good by this. As you turn the cap to remove it, that's where the red dot's gonna be, see? Absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna coordinate, we're gonna do the count, let's put this lens on. You ready, buddy?
Yep.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's just it. Thank you so much. Good luck in your film. Cheers. So the next thing we're going to attach is going to be the base for the Sony batteries, okay? Now it has a screw right here that can attach anywhere to this body. Where would you like to put it? Anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. Design this however you and your camera team want to build it. My preference is always right here in the bottom corner. That's where I'm going to attach. Simply line up with a threaded hole that is of the same size as the screw. You've also got this little flap here that you can pull out. You can turn that to allow you to tighten this easier. You don't need the flathead screwdriver. You have to attach this cable. This is going to connect the battery to the camera. You will notice that there are 2 spots where you can plug in this cable. One will say 7.4 volts, the other will say 12 volts. It is imperative that you plug this into the 12 volt plug, okay? Otherwise there won't be enough juice to power up the camera. So that's gonna plug in right here. There's now this 2 little pins that have to slide into the 12-volt plug on the side of your camera here. It's very, very tiny. It'll be very difficult to see with just your eye. Luckily, there is a guiding pin that you can use, and you'll see a spot where it slides right in to receive. Press that in and you're good to go. The next thing we're going to do is the CFast card. Simply slide the edge of the camera right here and it will open up. CFast card zips right in, then you close it up. Next, we're going to attach the Sony battery to our camera. Simply line up the 2-pin receivers with these 2 pins right here. You will notice a little blue light over here on the side, and that's gonna let you know that power has been received and is transmitting into the camera. Well, bit by bit, it's starting to look like a real camera, and now we're gonna attach the 5-inch monitor. This is a small touchscreen monitor from Small HD. Fantastic company. These are top of the line. This is a cold shoe mount on the bottom. You're gonna leave this on, okay, when you put it back in afterward. And we're gonna slide it into the cold shoe receiver right here. Spin the wheel down so that it locks it into place. You're going to want the monitor to face this way for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is more ideal for your focus puller and also for your script supervisor as well if they want to have a peek at this little monitor. We want to make sure that it's pointing away from your talent, and it's also not for the camera operator. You have your own big screen here to look at. This also allows the HDMI to be connected very easily. So we're going to want to make sure that we're connecting to the in for the monitor because we're going from the camera into this monitor. Now we need a little battery to power this up. So these are the Canon batteries, okay? It's got 2 tiny little teeth right here, and there's also a receiver that allows this just to slide in super easy. Now we're good. Let's typically use and focus these batteries on the monitor exclusively, aside from one inside the body of the camera. And why we want to do that, it's kind of like a backup. This is going to allow you to keep running for another 30 to 40 minutes. We've already built this camera. How am I going to slide this into the base? Very, very easy. Remember, this is a quick mount. So I can just slide over here. I can then remove the bottom latch, put the battery in, put it back in, lock, and you're done. So that's one of the nice features of having this quick release plate as well. We have a battery in here, we have power here, we have a lens, we have a CFast card. So the last thing we want to do now is balance the camera, and then we're ready to take that test. So you're going to hold on to the handle of the tripod with one hand, you're going to release the tilt, and then we're going to see which way this camera wants to fall. It's going to fall forward. Oh yeah, that's where all the weight is. So we want to loosen the plate. I've slid the plate back, and now the camera, with it unlocked, is standing perfectly still. I'm now going to lock the plate. I'm going to lock my tilt for a second. I'm now going to apply some counterbalance. So I'm going to turn my counterbalance on to 3. You kind of want to go back and forth just to engage it, and now it should just stick. So that's what we're looking for, okay? We're looking for the camera just to stick. It's called sticking the tilt. I'm going to remove my lens cap. I'm going to turn the camera on. The power switch is right on the top here. So we have set up our tripod. That's the first thing done. We have built the camera and attached it to the tripod. We've also balanced and leveled the tripod. So of the 25 questions on this test, we're already on number 4. So let's get to it. Number 4 is, how do we set the recording codec? On the back of this camera, there are 6 physical buttons. The second from the bottom is 3 horizontal lines. You'll press that, and that's going to take you into the camera menu. There are going to be 6 sub-menu sections: record, monitor, audio, setup, preset, and LUTs. In record is where we want to be, and right up the front is all of our information. We want to be on ProRes, HQ, and we're going to be shooting in HD. Those are the 3 settings to make sure we hit. On the side is a little arrow. We're going to hit that to go to the second page of the record menu section. And under dynamic range, we're going to want this set to video. Now, you have the option to go to film mode if you want to. That's basically like your log C. That's all of your information is baked in there, and you can exploit that in post-production. We encourage all of our students to shoot in video for this semester, but if anyone wants to take the extra challenge on their own and do their color grading this semester as opposed to their next film, by all means, we encourage it. Last thing, make sure your project frame rate is at 23.98. Make sure your sensor area is 4K, and your preferred media for recording is CFast. What are the 2 native ISOs for this camera? Blackmagic's Pocket Cinema camera has two, one at 400 and one at 3200, which is outstanding. You're going to have two native ISOs. You must know that for the test. Next is going to be the full dynamic range of this camera, and that is 13 stops. In film mode, you have 13 stops of dynamic range. In video, it's a little less, but in film, 13. Remember that number. Now, a lot of this moving forward is going to be menu navigation, okay? And the first we want to talk about is frame rate. How do we change our frame rate? On the top of this screen, the camera operator can see all of these little menu spots, and there's FPS. Hit that, slide the arrow back and forth, and you can change your frames per second. But keep in mind, that's the project frame rate. If you actually want to change the frame rate to go against that for slow motion effects or fast, you're going to have to hit the off speed frame rate button located on the bottom right side of that screen. You have to hit that first, and then you can actually change the recording frame rate as opposed to the base frame rate. Next, ISO. Super easy. There's literally a button that says ISO. You hit that, and then all of these ISOs come up. You can slide back and forth to hit a specific number, or all of the popular options are right up front for you just to quickly hit. How to change your shutter angle. Again, it's right here on this top bar. If you're catching on, yeah, this is where a lot of the test is gonna go. So look where it says shutter, you hit that, and then you can switch between a myriad of popular shutter angles. If you're at the point now where you're starting to prefer seeing a shutter speed as opposed to angle, there is a way you can change between the two values in the camera. So you can change between speed and angle. So now you can again customize the camera based on how you prefer to rationalize that relationship between shutter speed and frames per second. How to adjust your Kelvin color temperatures. Again, the top bar, you can see WB. That's not for Warner Brothers, that's white balance. And so you hit that button, and now you can see a plethora of different temperatures. Again, you can slide the arrow back and forth to do a customized number, but a lot of presets are already here. You see a sun, you hit that, it's daylight. You see a light bulb, you hit that, and now you're in tungsten. It's kind of neat how they've done it. On the very far right side is a square that says AWB, automatic white balance. If you want to do a white balance and use the card that's in the kit, hit that button, a square will appear on the monitor. Make sure you fill that square with the white or the gray, whichever one you're using, and then hit the button, and now you've calibrated the camera to white balance for that situation. How to change your frame guide options. That's the next question. On the top left corner of your monitor, you're gonna see a square. Hit that and you get a whole bunch of different options. The third one over, again from the left, this is gonna be your aspect ratio. So you can slide the arrow back and forth and you can get different aspect ratio frame lines so that you can shoot your film knowing that there's gonna be an intended frame line at the end, a different aspect ratio. Beside that is a little tic-tac-toe square. That's how you're gonna get your rule of thirds, your horizons, your crosshairs, all of that stuff. So that's gonna be how you're gonna do a lot of your frame guides and things like that. Now we're gonna move away from the touchscreen portion, and we've got a few questions that are going to engage the buttons on the side. The next question I'm going to ask you is how to engage the auto iris. The top button on the right side of the camera, you're going to see all of these leaves that are like part of like an iris, of like a shutter. That's what we're looking for right there. So press that button on the top, that's your automatic iris. I'm then gonna ask you to manually change the iris. Where do we do that? That's right, we're gonna go back to that top border line right there on your touch screen, and that's where you're gonna see your iris. You hit that, and then you can adjust on the fly and do your iris. Again, all of this touch screen stuff that we're doing is because we have the smart lens. That's why we've chosen this lens to work with the camera. Now, those two, your iris automatic and your iris manual, that controls exposure. The next question is, how do we confirm our exposure? Through the zebra. Let's go back to that top left square. At the very left side, you're gonna see a circle with a bunch of lines. You hit that, and that's your zebra. You can now turn that on and off, and you can adjust your sensitivities. So now we can gauge if we are overexposed. The next question has to do with focus. Where is the automatic focus on this camera? It's the button right underneath the automatic iris. Press that button, and your camera will engage autofocus. You can also literally tap anywhere you want on the screen, and wherever you tap, that's where it's going to focus. So we have that option as well. The next question is going to be a bit of a curveball. Everything so far has been focusing on highlighting the many automatic options and supports Blackmagic baked into this camera, which is really exceptional. So let's remember, we have to use our hands as well. So the next thing I'm going to say is, how do you manually focus? You might sit there and think for a second and go, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's all I want you to do. Just turn the focus wheel and get me sharp focus with your eye. Once you've done that, we're going to turn on Focus Assist to confirm that your eyes are actually working the way we want them to. So you're going to go back to that top left square and you're going to go to the second one over. That's called the Focus Assist. You're going to engage that and you're going to see a red line over anything that is in sharp focus. You're going to see a numerical border here going back and forth so you can actually adjust the sensitivity of this Focus Assist. We recommend somewhere around 50 to 60, okay? Never more than that, because it can actually become misleading and say, oh, everything's in focus, you're good. So again, we want to use our eye first and then use the Focus Assist to back up and confirm what our eye is seeing. So you always want to start with your eye, then back it up with your Focus Assist. Next, it's going to be sound levels. How do we turn our sound levels off and on? Now we're going to go back into the menu. So that menu button, again, the 3 horizontal lines, we're going to go over to audio. And right here in the top, you're going to see 2 channel sources. And it should say camera left and camera right. If you hit the arrows to the left, you're going to then turn them both off. There's a ton of options, including XLR, phantom power, so you can attach all these different mics to it and things like that. But for right now, we're going to put it back to camera left and camera right. This is our scratch mic. This is something you'll learn more about in your post-production class and how we can use the internal microphones here as our scratch. I'm then going to ask you about the Macbeth chart or the color checker chart. We're going to cover that in class. We're also going to cover the slate, which is the next thing, which is show me a soft sticks, show me a tail slate, show me MOS, all of those things, okay? So we're going to skip those. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to record a shot. There are 3 record buttons in this camera. One on the touch screen behind, one located right here, and there's actually a teeny tiny one right here in the front, which I've been told is for YouTubers. You're going to want to record, and then I'm going to play back this clip. Whatever clip you've recorded, I want you to play it back. How we do that? You know that menu button, the 3 horizontal lines? Just below that is a play button. You're just going to hit that, we go into playback mode. We can now skip through any of the shots we've recorded and we can play it back. You're going to hop out of the playback menu and you're going to see right at the bottom, dead center, 3 horizontal lines. And these represent the 3 medias at which you can record. The first one will be your CFast. Just touch that. And now you're going to go to this whole new menu system where you're going to see a circle that tells you how much footage you have recorded and how much time you have left. You'll see a button that says Format CFast. You then have an option between Mac OS Extended or exFAT. We use Mac here. Everything is Mac in our program. So you're going to want to use Mac OS Extended. You're then going to hit Format CFast card. The camera's going to go, you sure? You're going to go, yep. Hold the button for 3 seconds. And then we're done. And then begin the process of tearing this down bit by bit. A quick thing to remember when you're going through this proficiency test. Again, I'm your camera assistant. So at any point if you need help with the lens or anything else, I'm the one you're going to ask, okay? Don't hesitate. We're here to help you. If you want to learn more about this camera, check out our handouts online, come to one of our workshops, or reach out to one of our student workers in the cage and they can have a one-on-one tutorial with you to get you prepared for this test. Good luck, and remember, we're making movies out there.